Hello and welcome to another episode of Bourbon Blather. I'm Joe Cleon, a Cleveland concert photographer, joined by my co-host, the hardest working musician in Cleveland, E-Rock Sasinski. We sit in my bourbon room in Cleveland, Ohio, sample a handful of bourbons, learn about them, and blather on about bourbon, music, and anything else that comes up in conversation. Please subscribe to our new YouTube channel. Look for about a dozen other live streams to be uploaded, and become a part of our Facebook community by joining the Bourbon Blather Facebook page. Sit back, relax, have a pour of your favorite bourbon, and join us as we sit and enjoy the following bourbons. Jefferson's Ocean Rye, Jefferson's Distillery, Crestwood, Kentucky. Fuse Immortal Rye, Few Distillery, Evanston, Illinois. Rye of the Robots, Filmland Spirits, Los Angeles and Bardstown, Kentucky. Koval Rye, Koval Distillery, Chicago, Illinois. Three-Chord Amplify Rye, Clarence, New York and Chelsea, Michigan. High West Double Rye, Park City, Utah and Wanship, Utah. Let's crack the first bottle as Bourbon Blather begins now. Hello and welcome to Bourbon Blather. My name is Joe Cleon. This is my bourbon room. My usual co-host, Eric E-Rock Sasinski, is not here for this edition. He is too busy being the hardest working musician in Cleveland and just had tons of gigs this week. So we're going to do an episode without him, and we're going to do one with my good friend Kelly Delaney. How you doing, Kelly?
Good. Thank you for having me today, Joe.
Thanks for coming down. We're really glad to have you. Kelly did one of our first Bourbon Blather podcasts about a year ago.
Just about.
And big fan of bourbon and ryes, so we figured we'd have her back to test out an all-rye edition that we're going to do here. And Kelly is the merch maven for Wish You Were Here. You will see her at all Wish You Were Here gigs behind the merch booth, selling all kinds of cool stuff. And you're also selling merch at another concert venue, right?
I do. I sell merch at MGM Northfield.
Any shows coming up at MGM?
There are a couple. I'm not on the schedule until, I believe, October.
Oh, okay. Do you know what those shows are?
That is going to be All on Monday or Monday on the Wind. I don't remember the name.
Okay. Never heard of that band.
Me either.
I feel old when there's bands playing at venues and I don't know their names. But you can find Kelly at MGM doing merch for some shows, and you can find her at all the Wish You Were Here shows. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to do all ryes for this edition. And we got some really good stuff lined up here. Kelly has brought 2 bottles of 2 of her favorites, 2 ones that she really likes. So why don't you, first of all, I almost forgot.
Oh, we got to light the candle.
We have to light the Geddy Lee devotional candle, which keeps us on the straight and narrow and gives us good luck. And we use this candle only for our Bourbon Blather podcasts. There he is. Geddy Lee loves us, and we love Geddy Lee. There, I feel better now.
Good.
I feel safer.
Good.
Okay, so what's the first bottle that you brought in that we're going to try?
The first bottle we have is going to be the Jefferson's Ocean Rye. Go ahead.
And you're a big fan of Jefferson's.
Oh, I do like Jefferson's all over the board.
So tell everyone what the story of Jefferson's is. What's the gimmick that they have that's unlike anything else? So
the gimmick they have is that they actually put the whiskey, bourbon, rye, whatever they're making, into barrels and put it onto ships, and it sails around the oceans. That's how they go ahead and make it, and then it comes back and gets bottled afterwards.
And so when the barrels are on the ships and it's in the ocean, it's moving around, so the juice inside the barrels is in constant motion interacting with the barrels, unlike when it's in a traditional rickhouse and it just sits there motionless. Mm-hmm. So all the extra interaction is supposed to really, really enhance the flavor of the bourbon. And for this Jefferson's bourbon, each voyage, because they have different voyage numbers as to which ships go out, which barrels go out on which ships, it says that for each voyage, I don't know if you know this or not, this bourbon crosses the equator 4 times, and it visits 5 continents, over 30 ports in an average sailing.
Oh.
So it sits for a while in some barrels and it ages, and then they put it on this, it doesn't say how long it's actually on the boat, but if it's crossing the equator 5 times, going through 30 ports, it's got to be a decent amount of time. Mm-hmm. And that's just the enhancing of the aging. It's a product of Canada. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yes, it is a product of Canada, and it's non-chill filtered. So a lot of bourbons are chill filtered, where they filter it and it gets chilled, and it takes out some of the impurities and stuff, and this is not chill filtered. And a lot of people think that the non-chill filtered bourbons have more flavor because when it's chill filtered, some of the flavor is filtered out. So this is a more kind of a raw bourbon, and it's a rye. So I've tried some of the regular Jefferson's Ocean, but I've never tried this. And I believe, what's the proof on that? I think it's 94, but some of the voyages are different.
96 proof.
96, okay,
96.
That's a little bit higher, and I believe this goes for about $70.
Correct.
And it's available in Ohio. If you go to ohlq.com, you can get it here in Ohio. And if you remember before, when we would do our bourbon podcast, I used to keep my ice cubes in a giant freezer plastic bag, and it really looked crappy and low class. And good friend of the show, Suzanne French, she really got tired of the low class element of the show. So she made for me and gave me this awesome ice bucket. And Suzanne, you rock. Thank you so much. Check this out. She made a Bourbon Blather logo and put it on this ice bucket. And I like the logo so much that I have made that logo the new official logo of the show.
Nice.
So this is the new official logo of the show, and we're going to start featuring on all of our episodes. And she also sent me a bunch of buttons that have the logo on it. And I will give you a button.
Thank you, Joe.
And soon we're going to have shirts with this new Bourbon Blather logo, and I will make sure you get one of those. And we'll have a shirt for everybody that comes on and does one of the podcasts with us. So Suzanne French, thank you so much. She's always in the comments when we do our podcasts and stuff, and that was just really, really, really nice.
Yes.
And I think she was creeped out by me digging my hands in there and, giving people ice. So in the bucket, she gave us a pair of tongs. So my hands are not going to be messing with ice anymore. So, give you one of those. Might take me a while before I become tong savvy.
I believe in you, Joe. You got this.
All right, so grab that Jefferson's Ocean.
There you go.
And
I can't believe I found something Joe has not had yet.
Yeah, no, I've never tried this. They have a regular Jefferson's Ocean, just a bourbon that goes on the ships, and they have a Jefferson's Tropics. Have you tried that?
I haven't tried the Tropics yet, but the original I have.
And the Tropics, they sail like around the Caribbean and around the tropics. So this gimmick is working out well for them, and they're coming out with new expressions.
I have to admit that when Joe said he wanted to do the rise, I immediately thought of this one. Went to go get the bottle and found very little left in the bottle. Not enough to do this, so I had to go get another bottle.
That's a sign of a good bottle when you go to check it, and there's not that many. Like most of these only have a little bit left because they're so good, they just don't sit around for very long. So, this Jefferson's Rye, and this is just, I usually go and view 2 or 3 reviews at some of the review sites that I respect, that I like. And I kind of take a combination of what they say. So on the nose, and we'll see if we agree, rye spice, pepper, nutmeg, and some cherry cola like stuff. Okay. Ooh, I get the cherry cola.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can't you smell that?
I get that right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean
I get that more than any pepper.
I get cherry cola more than anything else. Yeah, that's a weird nose. I've never had a nose that's like that's. Wow, that's really smells good.
This is why I have very little left in the bottle at home.
Hey, can I call you back? I'm having some cherry cola right now. The palate, seasoned oak, rye spice, touch of ginger up front with pretzels, and toasted marshmallow, drizzled with caramel. How do they come up with some of this shit?
I don't know.
I've never tasted a bourbon that has all of those notes. I mean, usually there's a few cinnamon, some vanilla, but pretzel and marshmallow and rye spice and oak and gin. I mean, come on.
That's why you've never had this one.
Well, maybe I'll be surprised.
First time for everything.
Jefferson's Ocean.
Cheers.
Rye. Cheers. Interesting. I kind of get a lot of cherry cola on the palate, too. Mm-hmm. And it's not as rye spicy as some other ryes that I have, especially for the proof, for it being, what'd you say, 96 proof?
96 proof.
I get the black pepper on the finish that they're supposed to have here. Dry spice charred oak on the finish. It's not a very long finish.
Mm-mm. See, I don't even get the pepper even on the back.
I got a little bit of pepper on the back, but the cherry and the cherry cola really kind of dominates everything.
Seems to be more of a sweeter rye than what you would normally think of a rye to be.
It is. It is very sweet. And that's one of the characteristics of ryes that I like. It doesn't have any of the mint undertones. Some of my all-time favorite ryes that we're going to visit later really have a wintergreen, menthol, almost kind of a vibe to it. Like those really soft restaurant mints that you get, the little squares,
The butter mints?
Yeah. The ones that's kind of the vibe I get on some of these ryes, and I really, really, really like that. And we have to take a quick pause because I usually have a cooler here that I put our ice into and I rinse our glasses out with, and I forgot it. So we will cut this and paste it back together, and in the blink of an eye, I'll be back with my cooler. Okay, we are back with my cooler. You're still finishing this off a little bit?
I am, and as I smell it, you almost smell a little bit of maple to it, maybe. I know it doesn't mention any maple in the notes, but
sometimes when the ice just waters it down a little bit, it will change some of the flavors. And I do get some maple. I still get the cherry.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, there is kind of some maple in there.
There's a little bit of a back to it.
That's all these Jeffersons are really interesting. And for, $70, $80, $90 a bottle, they need to be interesting.
Yes.
But it's a good gimmick. And I wonder if the price is going to go up since it's Canadian. Isn't there Canadian tariffs now?
I believe so.
So
I'm not sure what's happening with all that.
Yeah, no, it seems to change from day to day. And I know Canada's pretty pissed off at the U.S., and I think a lot of the Canadian liquor stores have pulled all American bourbon from their shelves, and all the bourbon distilleries in America, especially on the Bourbon Trail, are really suffering because of that. So, yeah. Thanks, Trump. Anyway, so that was Jefferson's Ocean. Very interesting. And now we're going to, it's interesting, the next one that you brought, tell us a little bit about it.
So that is from the Few series, which, again, Joe has not had, which, again, amazes me because he's got almost every bottle of the Few up here, if you can see.
Yeah, if you look up here, the distillery I have the most bottles from is this distillery, Few.
The entire shelf is all Few.
And Few is a Chicago distillery. And there was one I didn't have. And just by chance, I mean, you didn't buy it because I didn't have it. You just had it by chance. There's one that I didn't have, and Kelly has it. So we're gonna try it. And Few is located in Evanston, just north of Chicago. It's a grain-to-glass distillery, which means they use local and regional farmers for all the grains. They mash and mill the grains, and they do everything in-house. So it's not like some grains come from California and they distill it here and they age it here. It's all, whenever you hear grain to glass, it's all done in-house. And where most bourbons, and we had the Few Smashing Pumpkins one that we had on the show months ago. Billy Corgan is from Chicago, from Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
And he has a tea room. And I visited the tea room up there. And the tea is really expensive. And they have this signature brand of tea. I forget what it's called. Mama something, I think. And traditional bourbon, when it comes out of the barrel, is 120, 140 proof. It's very strong. If you get something that says cask strength, that's straight out of the barrel and it's not watered down. But your traditional bourbon that's 80, 94 proof, they use distilled, filtered, purified water, and they bring it down to whatever proof that they want it to be. Well, with this Few Immortal Rye, instead of using water to bring it down to proof, they used a special kind of tea called Eight Immortals Oolong Tea. Hence the name Immortal Rye.
And that's what attracted me to it, is that it was mixed with tea.
Yeah, and that tea is a very special, kind of sought-after tea. It comes from China, and it's grown at really high elevations, like 2,000 feet, I think. And it's a really sought-after tea. They say when you open the container of this Eight Immortals Oolong Tea, it will smell up the whole room. And that's how fragrant it is. And Evanston, in north of Chicago, is an interesting place because that was the birthplace of the temperance movement. And the temperance movement, way back in the day, in the early century, was what grew into Prohibition.
Okay.
A very religious, Puritan kind of place. And their movement, called the temperance movement, grew into Prohibition, where liquor was illegal in the United States for, I don't know how long Prohibition lasted, but a decent amount of time. And so, all the way up until like 2000 or 2001, Evanston had really strict laws about consuming and buying. It was pretty much a dry county, and it was one of the most stringent laws against alcohol in the whole country.
Okay.
And so this guy that started the Few Distillery, I don't know if I have his name on here or not. He spent 10 years getting the laws changed in Evanston.
Wow.
Until finally it was like most everywhere else, and bourbon was legal and alcohol was legal. They could sell it, they could consume it, and they didn't have prohibition still types of laws. But that lasted from the end of prohibition until like 2001. So in 2011, that was when he started this Few Distillery. And it was the first Chicago distillery since prohibition.
Okay.
Well, actually, the Koval distillery we're going to get to later started a couple years earlier, but it was the first one in Evanston, and they took the Prohibition County, the Prohibition City, and made it into a distillery town. Pretty wild stuff. I'm really sad. I thought I had that guy's name on here, but I guess I don't. But you can look it up. There's a history of the few. Oh yeah, here it is. Paul Hletko, and so he started the distillery after spending 10 years changing the laws.
10 years,
and
geez.
I believe the proof on the one you have is 93, and the price is about $45.
93 proof, yes. You are correct.
Few used to be available in Ohio, but it got put on the last call list because the Ohio government sucks, and they took it off the shelves in Ohio. And so now you can buy it outside of Ohio, and I usually get my bottles in Chicago because that's where the distillery is from, and Few is everywhere up there. Did you get that bottle in Chicago?
Chicago.
And Kelly, like me, is a fairly frequent traveler to Chicago, and we go to the most awesome liquor store on the planet, Binny's. And Binny's has locations all over Illinois.
Yes, they do.
And the one I like to go to is in Lincoln Park, and it's literally like a Kmart, and they just sell beer, wine, and spirits. And Binny's is freaking awesome.
Mostly spirits and wines. Very few beers, actually, there.
Now, this is that a single barrel? Is that what that says? I believe it is. My eyesight is terrible. I'm pretty sure that's... I'm not sure, but... Immortal Rye Whiskey with the 8 Immortals Oolong Tea. This should be interesting. And I've seen this online. I've seen it in the stores, but I've never tried it. And I'm going to have to go get a bottle just because that shelf is it's not complete.
It's not complete.
There's one other. They have rock star versions like the Smashing Pumpkins I talked about. And there's also one up there for Alice in Chains, and that one is finished in tequila casks.
Okay.
And then there's one from the Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, which is like a doom metal band, a very, very cool band. I really like them. I hadn't listened to them before I got that bottle, and I started listening to them. I didn't even realize they were a metal band. I thought they were a rap band. But it's really, really good. They're a really good band. And that one, I believe, is aged in some other kind of casks as well.
Okay.
And there's one other musical collaboration they had from like 4 or 5 years ago with the band The Flaming Lips, if you've ever heard of them. And that's the only one I don't have because it's not available. And it's like $200.
Oh, geez.
It's expensive because it's not available anymore. So, again, just north of Chicago in Evanston. And on the nose, let's see if you can guess what this says you're supposed to get on the nose. Wow, that's interesting.
I definitely get the tea out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little peach?
It says high in citrus from the tea. And it also says black pepper, but I'm not getting any kind of a spice. It's really, really sweet.
Yeah, again, I'm not getting any pepper.
No. Okay, so the palate, a cherry-like fruitiness with rye spice, brown sugar, and then some earthiness from the oolong tea. And a long time ago, 20 years ago, I was a big-time tea connoisseur. And oolong tea was kind of my favorite. It was just really strong and earthy, and I love oolong tea. So this is going to be really interesting.
I'm excited to see your reaction on this one.
Yeah, so cherry-like fruitiness, brown sugar, a very fruity rye, which most ryes are kind of more spicy. Because like there's a wheated bourbon is real sweet, almost like wheat bread, and the rye bourbons are almost spicy, like rye bread is spicier. But this one doesn't seem very spicy. Let's give it a try.
Cheers.
Immortal Rye from Few in Chicago. Give it that Kentucky chew where you chew on it for a minute and get it all around your mouth. That doesn't really taste like rye at all.
I definitely get fruit out of that.
Yeah, it's almost got like a fruity bourbon feel. Mm-hmm. Wow.
A little bit of spice on the back end, but you can still you can taste the fruit all the way through.
The spice on the finish is a little bit, but again, it doesn't have the rye spice that some ryes have.
Wow. Very sweet on the fruit all the way through.
I should have put the regular rye without the tea in here. We could have tried it and seen what the difference was.
Forth, yeah.
But that's, well, I like that. And I don't think we showed this bottle to anybody. This is the Immortal Rye from Few. I love their labels. And sadly, Few does not offer tours of their distillery. And
maybe in another 10 years we can get them to change that.
Maybe.
Start working now and
They used to. They used to have tours. And the place is kind of the place is kind of weird looking. It's down this alley. You can't get to it from this main street. You have to park on this alley and walk down the alley. And the picture they have on the website, it looks like a decrepit crack house. I mean, it's just like this decrepit brick out facade on this building with the Few logo above it, and it just doesn't look like what you would expect a distillery to look like. But their products are great, and I believe that they were recently purchased by somebody like Heaven Hill, like a major, and they haven't tampered with any of their recipes yet.
Hopefully,
but hopefully they won't. But Few has done very well for themselves. They're available in a lot of different states, except for Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah. Something's good, Ohio doesn't want to sell it.
But you go to Chicago enough, you can always restock of what's still available.
The only good thing about it being discontinued in Ohio was when they put it on the last call list, they usually drop the price by 50%. So the Few bottles are $39.99, I believe, in Chicago, $39 to $49.99. And when they put it on the last call list, they were $24.99. Oh. So I went out and bought like 4 or 5 of those just for $24.99, just to save. One of the few times bourbon is cheaper in Ohio.
Yeah.
And that's one of the weird things about Chicago. I mean, everything is more expensive in Chicago because the sales tax is like 10.5%.
Really?
They have a massive public transportation. I mean, the subways their transportation system is incredible.
Yes.
Gasoline is usually $1 more a gallon. Everything's more expensive. Cigarettes, you know how much cigarettes are? $18 a pack in Chicago. They're $11 here in Ohio.
I've never looked at the prices, but
it's crazy. But bourbon, like at a place like Binny's, a $50 bottle of bourbon can be $34 to $39 and $43. Bourbon is cheaper, and it's one of the few things that's cheaper in Chicago, because in Cuyahoga County they have that stupid sin tax for the Browns, and I buy a lot of my bourbon in Chicago, even stuff that's available in Ohio, because it's cheaper. And there's so many things that aren't available in Ohio that I've brought back. Usually when I go up there now, I have a group of 5 or 6 friends, and I'll come back with 10, 20, 30 bottles in my trunk, a whole trunk full of bourbon.
He does, and I do the same thing.
Dude, when are you going back to Chicago? Yeah, get me some of this, And so I'm always doing that.
But it's also nice to find stuff that's not available in Ohio.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I mean, I've been able to try a lot of really cool stuff.
You go out to the OHLQ website, and you can see what's here, but there's deeper expanse of what's available out there that you can also find elsewhere.
And a lot of the stuff that's here, like that Jefferson's Rye, if you look at like the Cleveland and suburbia map, there's only a spotty few places that it's available. It's not like it's everywhere.
Everywhere, right.
So some of the stuff is, even though it's available in Ohio, it's really hard to find. And there's 1 or 2 places that still have that Few, just because they have stock left over from when it was still available. I think they took it off the shelves about 6 months ago.
Okay.
So, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and get into our next bottle, which is something very kind of cool and a craft distillery. It's called Rye of the Robots, and it's probably the most interesting presentation of all of our bottles, and we'll get back into that right after this. All right, we are back on Bourbon Blather. I am Joe Cleon. This is my special guest, Kelly Delaney. So glad to have you along for this this ride through a bunch of different rye whiskeys. We just started off with Jefferson's Ocean Rye, and then we had the Few Immortal Rye from Chicago. And we were talking in the last segment about stuff that's not available in Ohio. And a couple months ago when I was up in Chicago, I've become friendly with a lot of the Binny's employees at the Lincoln Park location, because I always get this massive order up there. And so I was talking to one of the guys who's kind of one of the bourbon specialists, and I said, hey man, give me a rye, because I've really been starting to get into ryes lately. I said, give me a rye that's not that expensive, it's not available in Ohio. And he's like, well, I don't know what's available in Ohio. And I said, well, good point. But give me something that's not that expensive, it's just really unique, and something that you'll think I like. And he immediately went to the shelf and he grabbed this. And this is called Rye of the Robots. And when I saw the bottle, I knew I immediately wanted to buy it. It's just something very, very bizarre. And Rye of the Robots is from a place called Filmland Spirits. And it's produced in Kentucky, but some of the whiskey is sourced from other locations.
Okay.
And this company, Filmland Spirits, each of their different expressions, they have a bourbon and they have some other expressions. It's all, they come up with this like fictitious, classic B movie poster. And they base the story and the name of the liquor on this B movie poster. Kind of like a 1980s, B movie like you'd see on Mystery Science Theater or something like that. And that's what this Rye of the Robots is. And it's just a unique presentation. It's about $50. It's 94 proof. And I wasn't sure if I would like it or not, but I really ended up liking it. And we'll see what you think, Kelly.
Okay.
And being a rye connoisseur, I think you're going to like this one. It's just unique. So, Rye of the Robots. I love the labels. And there's some. This is the cheapest one, I believe. There's some other more expensive ones, some single barrels, I think, and some other more expensive ones. And
from the same distillery.
Yeah,
okay.
From that Filmland Spirits, and they all have the movie posters on them. I think I'm going to try some more of those, because and a lot of times if there's a bottom end one, like that's $50, that's great. I'll never buy the $80 one because the $50 one is so great. Why would I spend $30 more?
Right.
But for this one, I'm intrigued, and I think I want to try a few more of these from this company. And it's just a really unique presentation. And this, and I can really smell this. Do you get the mint on that?
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite characteristic of some ryes is that you get that wintergreen menthol kind of edge to it. And this one says wintergreen candy, dried orange with red berries and cinnamon, and that's exactly what I get. It's just really fruity, but there's also kind of a cinnamon kick to it. I really like this. I like everything about this rye whiskey. That's a great smell.
That is a fabulous smell.
They should make that into a candle.
It smells like Christmas.
It does. It's really good. It really smells good. On the palate, again, wintergreen, dried orange up front, berries, caramel, and vanilla.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of the early ryes that I tried were just really harsh and spicy, but some of these more craft ones, they're even like a little more milder than regular bourbon, and they're fruitier, and they're just kind of have a softer edge on them, which I would never have guessed for some of these ryes. And that's why I've become such a fan of ryes.
That's why I like the ryes.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Rye of the Robots. Boy, that doesn't taste like any of the other ones we've done so far.
You get that mint like as soon as it hits your palate.
It's like those butter mints from restaurants, those tiny little soft mints that you don't even have to chew, that just melt in your mouth. Man, oh man, that's really good. Oh, we're supposed to rate these two.
Oh, well.
Wow, that is interesting. An interesting finish. Not a really strong finish, but a long-lasting one.
Get a little bit of the cinnamon and the the orange in there now.
But
Not so much of the berry or the vanilla, but
I think the mint is the strongest of them all.
yeah.
Yeah.
That hit right away. That was really good.
Interesting. Rye of the Robots, Filmland Spirits, based in Kentucky. When I was on the Bourbon Trail, I wish I would have tried that. I probably would have stopped in and checked that place out.
Yeah, you can always go back.
Yes, I plan on going back.
Take the other Kelly with you, or go by yourself, or take E-Rock, or whoever.
I want to. There's a bunch of other distilleries up there I want to visit. When I was up there the first time with my girlfriend Kelly, we went to Heaven Hill, which was great. We went to Buffalo Trace, but their distillery tours are booked so far in advance we didn't get to a tour, but we could still walk the grounds. And they have a giant gift shop. I dropped like $400 in the gift shop. Like this George Stagg thing right here. The Buffalo Trace is a really beautiful place. And we went to Wild Turkey, and we went to Jim Beam. And the Jim Beam tour was the best.
Okay.
They take you from where the water first comes into the distillery all the way through the entire process to the bottling. And you can bottle your own bottle. You put your thumbprint on the wax on the top.
I was going to say, isn't that where you bottled your own?
I did that at Heaven Hill, too.
Okay.
They have one where you could bottle your own as well. I did a bottle of Bernheim wheat, which is my favorite Heaven Hill expression. But yeah, Bourbon Trail is great. There's about 30 distilleries in this, 150 or whatever mile circle. And they're all there. Buffalo Trace and Wild Turkey and Jim Beam and Four Roses and Maker's Mark and Woodford Reserve and all the big ones are there. And it's a lot of fun. Some really great liquor stores, too.
Okay.
So now we're going to move back to Chicago. I didn't want to put the two Chicago ones back to back. But this next one is a distillery called Koval. And about 2 months ago, I toured the Koval distillery because they have tours. And it was a really nice tour. The tour guide was great, very informative. And I have to say that I'm kind of stupid because
no, you're not.
I didn't buy Koval for like the last 2 years or so because their label is kind of generic. And the Few label, I bought that because the label's exciting. And I kept seeing this, and I knew it was Chicago. And I'm like, I got to try this. And I'm really glad that I finally tried it because I liked it so much. I booked a tour for Kelly and I of the distillery. And
he's been raving about it since I walked in the door.
Yeah, they have a really nice bar tasting room at the distillery. And I was able to try some more of their expressions. They had a 10-year rye. That's like $80 to $100 a bottle, and I try to pour that. But Koval is founded in Chicago in 2008. It was actually the first Chicago distillery since Prohibition.
Okay.
A couple years before Few, and it's actually in Chicago where Few is in Evanston. Started by a husband and wife team. Again, it's a grain to glass distillery, just like Few. They use local farmers to grow their grain, on-site milling, mashing, finally distilling and bottling. All that happens right on site at the Koval distillery.
Nice.
And it's a really nice tour. I think it was $20.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
It wasn't bad at all. They have a really great gift shop. I really enjoyed the tour of the Koval distillery. Unlike Few, all of the Koval expressions are single barrel. They don't do any blending.
Okay.
So everything from they have a 4-grain, a regular bourbon. They have a bourbon that they use oat as the grain.
Okay.
And it's all single barrel. From the barrel right into the bottle. They water it down to proof and put it right in the bottle. There's no blending. So some of your bottles from bottle to bottle could be wildly different depending on the barrel.
Right.
But this rye I tried first, and I love it. I absolutely this is probably one of my top 3 favorite ryes.
You can hear him raving about it now. You're for yourself here.
It's just really, really, really good. I wish their label would have been more interesting. I would have bought it 2 years ago. And I'm not gonna. I learned my lesson. I'm not gonna. You can't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a whiskey by its label. And I learned that lesson. So this is Koval rye. It's a single barrel. This is 100% rye mash bill. Okay. Some of these other ryes, we've talked about this before. For something to be bourbon, it's got to be 51% corn, and then wheat, rye, whatever, barley in the mash bills. If it's straight rye, that means it's 100% rye. They don't use anything else. It's just rye in the grain. And some of these other ones are, I think the few is 95% rye and 5% barley. But this one is 100% rye. Nothing else but rye is mashed, distilled, and made. So it's and a lot of times the straight ryes are a little spicier because, just like rye bread, it's got more of a spice to it. And they use 100% organic rye in the mash bills. So they're pretty stickler about the quality of what goes into the bottle.
Yeah.
I was really, really impressed with my tour of Koval. So get a whiff of this.
Ooh.
That's even more minty than the rye of the robots. It's like someone's shoving a lifesaver down your nose. A wintergreen lifesaver. It's really...
Is that butterscotch mixed in with it?
Yeah, it's kind of, yep, absolutely. And a little bit of, you know what I get out of this too a little bit is a little like mint, a little bit of butterscotch, but also a little bit of pear.
Maybe a little bit, but I get the mint and the butterscotch.
Yeah, the butterscotch is pretty strong. It also says there's supposed to be cinnamon and apples. All ryes pretty much will have some cinnamon in it, but I don't really get a whole lot of that. I don't really get anything. The mint is like the strong. Is the overpowering. The mint and the butterscotch is
I don't know, this is making me want a Werther's now.
overpowering.
My old lady years here, I'm going to have Werther's in my pocket.
And this is, I didn't get the proof on this, but I think this is...
I say, is it on the bottle?
Yeah, but my close-up eyesight is terrible. And it's dark. I can't even see that.
So you're trusting me?
Sure.
That's 40%, so 80 proof.
80 proof. So it's just 80 proof. Yeah, okay.
So this is the lowest proof we've had so far.
So far, yeah, it is.
But you said every one is different because of how they make it.
But I think
every bottle could differ a little bit in taste.
The different taste, I think they proof it all down to the same proof.
Okay.
But yeah, I've had some single barrels where they're radically different from barrel to barrel. I mean, if one ages on a different floor of the rick house, the temperature can be different, and it just, after 5 years or however long they age stuff, it could radically change the way that stuff tastes. And that's why single barrels are so interesting.
Well, even the crop of the ingredients could change.
Yeah, it's almost like a Forrest Gump piece of candy. You never know what you're going to get. You
know?
So here is Koval rye, single barrel. And on the palate, mint, fruit, sweet, not an overload of rye spice. And maybe even like a minty chocolate undertone on the palate, kind of like one of those Andes mints, those little square mints. And I can almost taste smell a tiny little bit of chocolate in the background of that kind of minty chocolate. Especially now that it's swirled around the glass a little bit. And sometimes when the ice will bring out some flavors, yeah. So here we go. Koval rye, Chicago. Damn, that's good. It's a little not as strong because of the 80 proof, but man, is it tasty.
That is smooth.
Yeah, it's really smooth. That's probably so far my favorite sipper. I could pour a glass of that if I'm working at night, working on photos from a show or something, and just sip that really slowly for hours.
That's a dangerous one.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know how much you were drinking out of that one.
Yeah, that's really, really good. And do you get the mint again on the...
I get the mint, and I actually taste the chocolate a little bit in that one. I wasn't smelling it, but I can actually taste that one.
Yeah, that's. I don't. It's hard to rate these, man. I'm telling you. Those last two were just really, really great. And now we're going to move on to one that is, again, I feel weird saying this, but it's another one of my favorites.
This one we've both had. So we had two that you haven't had, two I haven't had, and now the next one we have both had.
Yes. And this one, sadly, isn't available in Ohio any longer. And it's not available in Chicago. And I was talking to my friend at Benny's, and I'm like, dude, you guys have everything. how come you don't have this 3-chord bourbon? And he didn't know, and he had to go find somebody else and ask them. And he's like, for some reason, their main distributors don't carry it. And I was looking around tonight, and this 3-chord bourbon that we're going to have next, this rye, comes out of Michigan. And when I'm driving to Chicago, I'm dangerously close to Michigan. And so I found a liquor store that's about 20 miles outside of my route. And you better believe, next time I go to Chicago Labor Day weekend, I'm going to stop up there because I have like 3 or 4 people that love this, and I'm going to get like 4 or 5 bottles, or even get a case of 6 if I can. But this is a 3-chord bourbon. We've had the regular bourbon on the show. I think we tried this on the show before too.
I think we've tried this one too.
This is the bourbon of Neil Girardo. Mm-hmm. I think that's how you pronounce it, Giraldo or Girardo. I think it's Girardo, and it's Pat Benestar's husband.
Yes.
And he started this 3-chord bourbon, and this is the Amplify Rye. And I've tried a few different bourbons from 3-chord, and I've really liked them all. They're really good stuff. He just came out with a bunch of band expressions. There's one for a metal band called Under Oath. There's an Allman Brothers one that's like $200 a bottle. Oh, jeez. Okay. They're all limited edition. If you go on the 3-chord website, there's about 7, or I think there's some of the 90s, like, new metal bands like 3 Days Grace, or, or some of those bands. But he's got 5 or 6 of those, just brand new expressions.
Okay.
And it's just a really cool, it's a cool distillery. And it's, Neil Girardo. We did a show of all rock star bourbons.
Oh, did you?
And we had my friend Tony Erba, who is a legendary punk bass player, done 3,000 or 4,000 shows around the country with various punk bands. Him and E-Rock, we did all rock star bourbons. We did Bob Dylan's Heaven's Door. We did the 3-chord. There's a lot of musical collaboration bourbons,
yes.
And we did a whole show of those. And 3-chord was one of them. And when they put this rye on the last call list in Ohio, they weren't going to sell it anymore. I was pissed because I really liked 3-chord. I'm like, well, that figure is something I really like, and now they're discontinuing it in Ohio. So I went out to Minotti's in Fairview Park, which is a great store.
I grew up with Minotti's. I grew up in Fairview, so that is...
And I picked that up out there, and it was half price, which was great. But I really, really became a fan of this, and I'm going to hit my screen again just to make sure that we're still recording. And because it goes blank, it goes to sleep after a while. And this is a 3-chord Amplify Rye. And this is 95 proof. This is about $45. And where the last one we did was 100% straight rye, this is 95% rye and 5% barley.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why they put in the 5% barley. I'd like to ask the distiller that question. I'm sure it adds some characteristics that they want in the juice, but I'm not really sure why they would do that instead of just making it a straight barley. But this is a blend of straight rye whiskeys. It's not just one whiskey. It's a blend of different ryes, and they range from 2 to 7 years. Okay. So they'll take some barrels that are aged 2 years, some that are 7 years, and they blend hundreds of barrels to come up with this expression. They do distill some of their own juice at 3-chord, but less than 50% of an average bottle is juice that they produce, and more than 50% is juice that they source from other distilleries.
Interesting.
So it's an interesting blend of different things. On the nose, apple, cinnamon, apple cider with a little bit of mint.
Definitely get the apple cider and cinnamon.
The apple cider is really strong.
Yes.
Very strong. It's almost like you're sniffing a glass of apple cider.
Mm-hmm. And now the temperatures have cooled down. It's time for apple cider.
Yeah. Wow, I don't remember that being so apple-y.
Yeah.
Is apple-y a word?
It is now.
And I don't get as much mint as I remembered from this. I think it's been open for a while. It oxidizes. It changes a little bit. But, man,
I wonder how this would be as a hot toddy. A little warmed up like apple cider.
Oh, yeah. Put a cinnamon stick in it?
Yeah.
It'd be great. So here we go. 3-chord Amplify Rye. Cheers.
Cheers.
Neil Girardo. get some of the cinnamon on the palate. A pretty strong cinnamon bite. That actually has a little more of the rye spice than all of the others, I think. It's a little spicier. A little more traditionally rye spicy.
Yes. Cinnamon, apple, a little bit of caramel, actually. Like a sweeter taste in there. But yes, definitely more on the spice on that.
That's a good one. I remember that being a little mintier, but it's, I guess it's not this time. It's a little weird.
Joe and I were actually talking earlier about how everything changes over time as bottles stay open. And as you've heard, what we've tried before, it's completely different now as the bottles sit.
Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Like there's this revival rye that I was telling you about that's made by the Jimmy Red people. And if you've watched other episodes, Jimmy Red uses this bright red corn, this special genus of corn that's really sweet and oily. And the same distiller makes this revival rye. And when I first opened it, it was one of the worst whiskeys I ever tasted. It was awful. I'm like, oh my God, I spent $50 for this. I'm never gonna drink it. And it sat on the shelf for 3 or 4 months, and I tried it again, and it was totally different, and it was really good. And once stuff is opened and oxygen gets in there, it gets oxidized, and it can really change the flavor. And the more oxygen that's in there, like some of these bottles that are half empty or more than half empty, their flavor profile will change. And then when you put a little bit of ice in there, and sometimes people that drink it neat without ice, they'll add a drop or two of water because that water will also bring out some of the flavor. Yeah, that 3-quart is good.
I have a Basil Hayden at home, the 10-year, and when we opened it up, like it was harsh. It did not go down well, but after we let it sit for a couple weeks, it is really good now.
That's interesting because a lot of the bourbon snobs, mostly guys, on a lot of the bourbon forums and stuff, that's like the bourbon everybody loves to hate, Basil Hayden's.
I like the Basil
That's a chick bourbon, man, well, but I like it. I like it, and I go on these forums. I'm like, yeah, I like it. Oh, you dude, you got panties on, and it's almost like I call it the Nickelback of bourbon. Because a lot of people hate it the same way that people hate Nickelback, you know?
You either love it or you hate it.
Nickelback songs aren't offensive. They write great hooks. They've had 25, 30 years of, #1 radio songs.
Yeah.
But people hate them. Just because it's the fancy, it's the hate of the day, the thing that everybody loves to hate. And Basil Hayden is kind of the same way, but I think Basil Hayden is great. Have you ever tried the toasted Basil Hayden?
I do. I have a bottle of that
It's
at home.
really good.
I've got that. I've got the dark rye. I've got the one that was aged in the wine barrels.
See, that's the dark rye is aged in port barrels, isn't it?
But it is. But there is a different one that was actually aged in wine barrels that they actually portray as the wine.
I'm just not a fan of any bourbons that are aged in wine barrels because I really don't like wine. And so when you add that wine flavor into bourbon, it's just very off-putting for me. But I know a lot of people like it because there's a lot of bourbons that are aged that way. It's just not my thing.
Not for you.
And I have a bottle of that Basil Hayden dark rye. You could actually have it if you want it because I'll never drink it. It's just not something that I'm interested in. But the regular Basil Hayden I like a lot.
I was going to say I have the regular. I have the 10-year. I have quite a few variants of Basil Hayden.
I'd like to try the 10-year. I bet that's really good. The toasted is really good.
I was going to say we can try that next time.
Yeah, for sure. So next, finally, on our list is High West Double Rye. And this is something I saw in Chicago. And I was just kind of intrigued by the bottle for some reason. It's not a really unique bottle. I just saw it and I'm like, double rye? That's interesting.
Better label than the Koval.
And I never remembered seeing it in Ohio, although it is available in Ohio.
Okay.
But I bought it in Chicago just because. And it's 92 proof. It's about $35. I think it's the cheapest one out of all of these. So if you're on a budget, this is a good rye. And it's distilled in Utah.
Okay.
So it's not on the Bourbon Trail. It's
which part of Utah?
Park City, I believe.
Okay.
And there's one other. I think they have 2 locations. One's in Park City, and one is somewhere else.
Because there's a lot of places in Utah that are dry.
Yeah. And this is a blend of straight rye whiskeys ranging from, I think they said 3 to 7 years.
Okay.
And so on the palate, you're supposed to get some rye spice, which I can definitely... This has more of a spicy nose than any of the other ones. And again, apple and cinnamon. I get the apple. I don't really get much cinnamon. The nose really isn't that... This is probably the least exciting nose out of all of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not getting much of it. I get spice, but I can't tell you what spice I'm getting.
And again, since this is the cheapest one out of all of them, it's probably aged the least amount of time. So when it's a little bit younger, it won't have some of the flavor characteristics of the other ones.
Now, Joe, when you say that it's a mixture of barrels that are aged 2 to 7 years, and they mix it together, does it then age itself after the 2 to 7 years?
No, they take the 2 to 7 years and they blend them together.
And then bottle it right away?
And then they bottle it right away. As far as that's the way I understand it,
okay.
Yeah. Yep. I really get apple on this. Especially after it's been in the glass for a little bit and the ice is swirled around a little bit. I'm really getting some apple and cinnamon. Again, it's like a holiday bourbon.
I could smell that. I think this is the least fragrant we've had out of all of them.
I think probably because this is the youngest.
Okay.
It probably is the youngest because it's the cheapest. So it's probably, some of these are aged probably a lot longer.
Right. Not going across the equator 4 times. And
Yeah. So on the palate, we're supposed to get, again, apple cider, lots of rye spice. Let's see what we get.
Okay.
High West, double rye.
Cheers.
Cheers. That is really different from any of the other ones that we've tried.
That is.
It doesn't have a huge, long finish. But it's something that I would sip if I'm working at night. Something that's not very strong, that you could sip for a long time without really getting sauced.
I got the apple up front, the taste of it, and then I got spice. But yeah, you could definitely sip that one.
This is probably one of the more mellow ones out of all of the ones. And again, it's $35, so it's one of the more budget ryes. Mm-hmm. So we went pretty much from $70, $80 ryes to $30 ryes, and almost everything in between. I think this one was $50, that one was $40, this is $40, this was $35 or $40 or $45.
Something
so we've kind of went the gamut between like $35 and $80. I like the High West. I don't dislike it.
No.
But it's just different.
Not what I was expecting, but it was not bad at all.
No. So why don't you go ahead and rate the last couple if you haven't rated any of them. And we will take a quick break and we'll come back with the results and see who is the winner. Okay, we are back on Bourbon Blather. My name is Joe Cleon. This is my bourbon room. Our special guest, my good friend Kelly Delaney. And we just tried 6 different ryes. We usually only do 5, but we did 6. And now we're going to see which one ranks the highest between the two of us as we tally up our scores. So the first one, Jefferson's Ocean Rye. What did you rate that one?
Gave that a 7.
I gave it a 7 too.
Okay.
I thought that maybe I would like that a little more. I didn't dislike it, but I thought it would be phenomenal because a lot of the other Jefferson's ones I think are phenomenal. But I think I'm becoming a little jaded because I've tried so many ryes now. But it was good. It's just a 7 for me, and I'm 7 for you too. So I think we're kind of like-minded on that one.
Well, and at the same time, it was a new bottle. So
yeah.
it could change over time. And
that's true. Tell me if that gets better once you try it later.
I will.
Now, the way you've tasted it tonight, would you buy another bottle of that for $70?
I would.
You would?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would because I could get a bottle of Koval for $40. I don't know if I would. I'm not sure I would If you came back to me and said a month later it's fantastic, then I might. But I don't know if I would buy that again.
Okay.
If I could get 2 bottles of Koval for $10 more than 1 bottle of that, I might do that. I'm not sure. What about the Few Immortal Rye?
Gave that also a 7.
Me too. We are exactly the same on everything.
Great minds think alike.
It's good. It's interesting. It's unique. But it wasn't something like, wow, I want to drink that all the time. It's fantastic. Right. But it is good. Mm-hmm. And I've never tried anything from the Few Distillery in Chicago that I didn't like. A few things I like more than others, but that was very interesting.
With the tea in it and
the tea. I'd like to get some of that 8 Immortal Oolong tea.
Just the tea itself.
And just try some of that tea. Yeah, I'm intrigued by that now. I might buy a couple ounces of that and just brew up some tea and try it. Next was the Rye of the Robots.
Give that an 8.
I gave it a 9.
Ooh.
That is one that I really, really like. The minty edge of it, and it's the gimmick of the label and the movie poster, and I like everything about that rye.
Understandable. Yep.
So that one has a 17 total. Okay, what about the Koval?
I actually gave that a 10.
Wow.
I really liked that one.
Damn. I gave it a 9.
That was smooth, and I really liked that one.
That is one of my favorites. That's probably my 3rd bottle of that, and I have another bottle back here.
And waiting.
This one is almost gone, and I didn't want to run out of it, so I have another one back there. But yeah, that Koval is really, really good. And between the bottles, but since that's a single barrel, there hasn't really been a whole lot of variance.
Okay.
It's all been I've had 3 bottles of it, I think, and it's all about the same. There hasn't been any wild differences.
Okay.
But I really like Koval.
Yeah.
And the distillery tour was really fun. I bought a bunch of merch. The tour guide was great. The tasting room with all the different expressions that they had, and they had some food in there and stuff. It was a really cool afternoon and evening that we spent at Koval, Kelly and I. If you're ever in Chicago, I would highly recommend take that tour. If you go up there sometime, take that tour. It's really fun. And they have
I'll be there.
They have everything for sale in the tasting room.
Okay.
You can buy all the different bottles. You can buy T-shirts, and I bought some rocks glasses and all kinds of stuff. So that one so far is the highest at 19. The 3-chord Amplify Rye is next.
Give that a 9.
I gave that an 8.
Okay.
I really like that one a lot too. Very, very good. I'm going to buy some more of that when I go to Chicago. I'm going to go 25 minutes out of my way, and I'm going to spend an hour extra of my travel time to go get more of that. That's how much I like it.
That fascinates me that it's not available in Chicago. It's not available in Ohio, but it's available right smack dab in the middle in Michigan.
Yeah. It's weird. And I'm really surprised that's not available at Binny's, because Binny's has everything.
They really do.
And the guy said, I'm like, what's wrong with your distributor that he doesn't carry that? I mean, the reviews are great for all the different 3 chords. It's a highly heralded brand. It's really good stuff. It's freaking Neil Girardo. It's Pat Benatar's husband.
Yeah.
It's got everything going for it, and it's good quality stuff.
It's nothing off the beaten trail.
And it's one of the only things that I've ever looked for that Binny's doesn't have. And I was kind of busting the guy's balls. I'm like, dude, you guys have everything and you don't. He's like, I know, man. We should have it. And I'm like, well, you need to get on this. And I hope that I maybe lit a fire under his ass, and maybe I'll go in there one day and they'll have that. But
get one case of it in.
I mean, Michigan's pretty close. They could ship some cases to Binny's,
right?
For some reason, though, that they don't have it. And then next is the cheapest, the Budget Rye High West Double Rye. What did you give that one?
Give that a 7.
I gave it a 7 also. Very interesting. So, wow. So number 1 is Koval Rye. That was both of our highest rated with a 19.
Okay.
And we have a tie for second place with the Rye of the Robots and the 3-chord.
Okay.
Those both have 17. And then we have a 3-way tie for third place with the Jefferson's Ocean Rye, the Few Immortal Rye, and the High West Rye, all at 14.
Okay.
So out of 6 bourbons, there's only 3
places.
3 places, yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. And they're all really good.
Yeah.
None
Clearly.
Of these, none of these sucked.
No.
I mean, there's a few things on this shelf I'll drink. I'm like, oh my God, that's really shitty. There's a bottle of Old Granddad just came out with a 7-year. And I like the regular Old Granddad. It's probably my favorite bottom shelf bourbon.
Okay.
And they have a bottled in bond that's only $20, and it's really good. And they have a 114 proof that's like $25, and that's really good. And so they came just like last month. They came out with this 7-year bottled in bond. It's like $40, and I bought a bottle of it, and I wanted to love it, but the $20 bottle in bond is better.
Aww.
And I'm like, man, I spent $40, and this is kind of shitty. And it's just not really that good. But all of these are really good. So if you're someone who's just getting into rye, maybe you're a bourbon person and you want to try and, venture off into the rye territory.
Yeah.
You really can't go wrong with any of these.
Any of these.
Maybe try the cheaper High West and move your way along into some of the more expensive ones. But they're all
or
really...
even the Koval. Like, we both really like that one. And...
They're all really good. Unfortunately, Koval Bourbon is available in Ohio on OHLQ, but the rye is not available, which is kind of strange.
That's silly. You would think that they would have all the expressions from a distillery available.
No, they don't. And I've never tried the regular Koval bourbon.
Okay.
I think we tried a little pour of it during the tour, but I've never had a bottle of it.
Okay.
And I need to get a bottle of it and try it because I really like the rye. So I think pretty much, there's only 2 of these that are available in Ohio. The Jeffersons in the High West.
In the High West.
The Few, the Rye of the Robots, the Koval, and the 3-quart are all not available in Ohio.
Not available.
Well, if you want me to get you a bottle in Chicago, I'll get you one. Just add like $6 or $7 onto your purchase price for shipping and handling, and I'll bring you a bottle back. I do it for everybody else. If you're a fan of the show and you listen and you comment and stuff, I'll bring you back a bottle of any of this stuff. Send me PayPal in advance. I'll buy it for you. You can come pick it up. Interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
It's pretty wild that our ratings were almost the same on just about everything.
Yeah.
There was really nothing. We didn't really vary more than 1 point on anything between the 2 of us. All the bottom ones we both gave 7s on all 3 of those. The Koval was a 9 and a 10. The Rye of the Robots was a 9 and an 8. And the 3-quart was an 8 and a 9.
Yeah.
So we were pretty much on the same page with everything.
Yeah. And nothing really bottomed out on anything?
No, it was all really, really good stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Thank you for having me, Joe.
I really, really appreciate you doing this episode with me. We're going to do a bunch of more of these. We're going to have special guests, and some of them E-Rock is not going to be able to do. And we're going to do with some other special guests, and we're going to try and do more than just one a month. And we're going to add some more production elements and some stuff like that. And you can see how it's getting dark, that it's not as light as it was when we first started. But our minds are not as light as when we first started either. After 6 shots of all this bourbon. But thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to comment. Let us know what you think. And be sure to share and like and all that stuff. And we want to get as many viewers as possible. You can give us your suggestions, comments, and everything. We will read everything. And we'll see you back here very soon for another live stream at our Bourbon Blather podcasts.
Cheers.
Cheers.